Hello and welcome everyone. Today we are going to talk about one of the most famous poems in English, and it's also one of the shortest. It's called Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. Many of us have read this poem in academic years. It's only 9 lines long, and on the surface, it seems to be about how the world might end. The rhyme scheme of the poem helps in bringing out the contrasting ideas of fire and ice presented in the poem. But what if there's much deeper meaning hiding inside those 9 lines? What are we going to do is read the poem, figure out what it might mean, and then look at two really interesting stories about where Frost might have gotten this idea from. One story will take us on a journey through an ancient version of hell, and the other involves a chat with a famous scientist. Now, I'm going to tell you these stories, but I want you to listen carefully and think for yourself. People often say that truth is stranger than fiction, but in this case, the truth might just be really smart guess. Okay, let's start the poem itself. Here is Robert Frost's Fire and Ice. Some say the world will end in fire. Some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. To make it easier, let's break it down into parts. I'll explain what each part could mean as we go. Line 1 and 2. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. This is how the poem starts. It sets up a debate. Will the world be destroyed by something hot like fire or something cold like ice? But Frost isn't just talking about the weather and temperature. He's using fire and ice as symbols. Fire could stand for strong feelings like passion, desire, or even greed. Ice could stand for cold feelings like hatred, indifference, or loneliness. Line 3 and 4 says, From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. Here, Frost gets personal. He says that based on his own experience with desire, those strong wants and passions, he agrees with the people who think the world will end in fire. He's connecting a huge idea, the end of the world, to a feeling that all of us have had. Now, further line says, but if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. Now, Frost adds a twist. He says, if the world had to be destroyed a second time, he knows enough about hate to say that ice would also do a perfect job. He says ice is great for destruction and would suffice, meaning it would be completely enough. This makes the cold, silent power of hatred feel just as scary as burning power of desire. So, on the surface, it's a simple poem about the end of the world, but it's really about human nature. Think of fire as desire. This is about intense want and passion. It's like wildfire. It burns very brightly but can't be controlled and ends up destroying everything, including itself. Frost is saying, I felt this, so I understand how it could destroy the world. Now, think of ice as hate. If fire is hot and fast, ice is cold, hard, and slow. Hate doesn't shout. It's often quiet, resentful, and it can freeze a person from the inside. The line, I think I know enough of hate, is a very powerful line. It sounds like a confession, like Frost is speaking from deep personal experience. The most brilliant part might be the last word, suffice. Ice. Ice would be enough. It's not flashy or dramatic. It's just cold, quiet, and totally effective. In some ways, that's even more frightening than fire. So, where did Frost get this idea of fire and ice? One really interesting theory comes from a scholar named John Yarrow. He thinks Frost was directly inspired by Dante's Inferno, one of the most famous works in world literature. If you don't know about Dante, Inferno is the first part of Dante's epic poem, the Divine Comedy. It describes Dante's journey through hell, which he imagines as 9 circles of punishment. The farther you go, the grimmer the sins. The deepest, coldest circle is Cocytus, a frozen lake where traitors are punished. This is a good way to explain why some people connect fire with sins of passion and ice with treachery and cold-heartedness. In this story, hell isn't just one place. It's made up of 9 circles, each one punishing a different type of sin. The upper circles punish sins of passion and lack of control, sins that come from too much heat and emotion. And the very bottom circle, the 9th one, is the worst. It's not hot at all. It's frozen wasteland called Cocytus. This is where the worst sinners, traitors, are punished. Their sin is considered cold, calculated, and born of hatred. So their punishment is to be frozen solid for eternity. Now, back to this story. The scholar Yarrow claims that Frost took Dante's concept of hell, with its fiery upper levels and its icy bottom level, and squeezed it into this 9-line poem. Fire represents the hot sins of desire from the upper circles. Ice represents the cold sins of hatred and betrayal from the very bottom. It's a brilliant connection, right? But Here's the important question. Is it true? We don't know for sure. Frost never explicitly said that. This connection is an interpretation, a very smart and persuasive one. But it's still a guess. It's up to you to decide if you think it's what Frost really meant. Now, for the second story, which comes from the world of science. The story goes that sometime before 1920, Robert Frost was at a party and met a famous astronomer named Harlow Shapley. He started talking about how the world might end, and Shapley supposedly gave two scientific options. The sun could explode and burn the earth to a crisp, or the earth could drift away into the cold, dark space, freezing everything. According to this story, this casual conversation was the direct inspiration for Frost's poem. The poem, a cosmic scientific feel. But like the first story, the details are fuzzy. We don't know exactly when this happened or if Frost ever confirmed it. It might just be a great story that got attached to a great poem later. It's possible that Frost knew about these scientific ideas and the conversation just helped him put these poems together. So, where does this leave us? We have an amazing, powerful poem, and we have two possible stories about its origin. One from 700-year-old poem about hell, another from a modern conversation about science. Both stories are fascinating and both make us appreciate the poem even more. Maybe Frost, who was a poet, connected to both old books and new ideas, had both of these things in his mind. His genius was to mix them together into one perfect 9-line statement about the destructive power of human emotions. Let's hear the poem now that we have heard all this possibility one more time. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. So, what do you think? Do you believe the world will end in fire or ice? Do you think Frost was inspired by Dante's Inferno or by scientist theory? Or do you think the poem is really just about the destructive emotions we all feel inside? Share your own thoughts, what you have found, in the comments below. And I encourage you to go and read some more interesting poems by Robert Frost. If you enjoyed diving into this poem with me, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Berth for more conversations about literature, poetry, and the big ideas that shape our world. Thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, keep reading.